and those sort of weird kind of animal noises. Hello everyone and welcome to the Music Professor channel. I'm Matthew King. Today's little reaction video is actually a response to a request from a younger viewer that we talk about the soundtrack for Dune, which of course is a huge sensation at the moment, and I myself have just been to see Dune Part 2 in the cinema, in the IMAX, and it's certainly an epic experience with stunning cinematography and a very striking score. So what I thought we'd do today is we'll look at a little clip on YouTube of Hans Zimmer performing the soundtrack live and just see what's going on there. So here we go. Okay. I can't remember. This is from the first film. A lot of angry noises and people having thumbprints put on their heads. It immediately makes me think of, it's got a Lord of the Rings vibe, hasn't it? It reminds me of the orcs and those sort of weird kind of animal noises that are being generated using some sort of electronic manipulation on the microphone. Someone out there will no doubt tell me exactly how that noise has been created, but I can see on my screen that the shadowy figure of Hans Zimmer himself seems to be appearing in somebody's helmet, if I can put it that way. It's a bit strange. Let's have a listen. I think that's superimposed perhaps on the image of Hans Zimmer. So there's Hans Zimmer. He's gradually coming into view. The dude in the middle of the screen. He seems to be making those noises himself. Can it possibly be that those creepy orc-like noises are Hans Zimmer himself? I don't know. He's moving his hands around as if he's directing it. That's intriguing. Like Glenn Gould or something. He's conducting himself. It looks as if he's doing that vocalizing himself. The lights are up. Let's see what happens next. So he's been making those frankly disturbing noises. Oh, bit of drumming with a suitably cool percussionist. So Hans Zimmer has a whole team of very accomplished musicians who work with him. Some of Hans Zimmer's scores, I think, are orchestrated by this team. It's really it's a studio operation. So anything that has Hans Zimmer's name on it, what you're really looking at is a team effort, but he is the brand. Let's hear what she has to say for herself. Ooh. Terrific. Well, the film is full of this kind of... it's a film in a way about colonialism. It's about the exploitation of a planet, and the inhabitants of the planet are these nomadic desert people. And to some extent, therefore, there are tropes that are being explored both cinematically and in terms of costume and in terms of music that really refer very explicitly, I would say, to Arabic traditions and to the sorts of music that have been sung in those cultures for centuries. And Hans Zimmer has always had a tendency to make use of that source. For example, in Gladiator, the famous vocalization in Gladiator, which I've always thought was rather clever of him to refer not to, like in the old days, if you had a film about a Roman epic, you'd have, you know, you'd have sort of trumpets and grand kind of really 19th century effects going on in the gladiatorial arena or whatever. But Hans Zimmer did something much more genuine in a funny way, because I suspect that the music of the Roman Empire would have been much more like what we now associate with the folk traditions of North Africa. In other words, monody, you know, solo lines of music. And there's another tradition, I suppose, that comes out of it, and that's what we would call plain chant or Gregorian chant, is also connected to that tradition. A single line of music, no doubt accompanied in the old days with some sort of percussion or drones. And if you think about it, these are also components that you might find in Indian classical music. So it was a shrewd move of his to appropriate that sort of model for evoking the Roman sound world. Of course, we don't really know what Roman music sounded like because there's no one there to record it. Anyway, I've come off topic, but I'm just sort of referring back to this is really an old trick of Zimmer's to evoke a world. And it's very, obviously very, very evocative and very kind of potent and thrilling. And it's beautifully recorded and everything. Right, we've got a picture of the desert. And, She's quite fierce. She's really going for it. Fantastic. And we've also got a lady to the left, to our left, playing an electric cello. I think this is the cellist Tina Guo, who plays on quite a lot of Hans Zimmer's soundtracks. That is an electric cello. Zimmer himself seems to be over here on the synth, and then we've got a guy playing a massive bass drum. There's a dude here behind Tina Guo playing some sort of, what the hell is that? I don't know, some sort of pipe. Let's carry on. Let's hear what happens. I can hear that D drone, I should imagine, is being played on the synth by Mr. Zimmer himself. This looks like Tina Guo is going to give us a solo. Let's have a look. A lot of vibrato there. Can't actually hear much. She's just playing the drone, isn't she? I'd say she's emoting quite a lot, given that by emoting I mean there's a lot of this for a drone, but you know, it's a live show. Now, I've just stopped it because just behind the vocalist I'm seeing this pipe again. Heavens.
What's that, brother?
What the hell? I'm going to ask my audience, what is that? I've never seen anything like it. It looks like a sort of high-tech folk instrument. And there's some very glitzy, kind of Doctor Who-ish coloured lights in the background. Must have something to do with the sound system. It's all quite sort of space age. It looks to me as if Tina Guo is really going for it with the, oh yeah, this is where the spaceship or whatever it is coming out of the sea. Right, spaceship coming out of the sea. I think that sound that we're hearing, the melody, is a combination of Tina Guo's electric cello and probably Hans Zimmer's synth doing all this sort of E flat to D stuff. Let's go on a little bit and see what happens next. Looks like everyone really gets going here. Look at this. Oh yeah, a lot of, that's right, this is very characteristic of it. There's these kind of yearning appoggiaturas. Slightly German, actually. It reminds me of Wagner. You know, these, or Bach, these, it's very German. I seem to remember the whole score sort of shifts between D and E flat, the Phrygian. It's really the Phrygian mode. Hence that shift, that semitone shift. Do you see that? So that Phrygian semitone in the mode gives it the sort of Arabic vibe. Very clever, all these tropes being explored in such a sort of dynamic way, and lots of drums thumping about. Right, let's jump forward a little bit. Oh, there's a picture of a very scary bug. The old augmented second. Can't go wrong with one of those if you're doing a sort of folky vibe. Let's have a look at this. There's some whirling about. Oh, flames. You know what I don't understand here? Oh, Hans Zimmer's going for it on the guitar. What I don't really understand about this video is, there it is, it looks very created for the camera. Is this really a live session? It looks almost to me as if are they miming? Are they miming to the soundtrack? Dare I ask that question? It may well be that it's a live performance, but it's terribly visual. Right, and then we see baddies and so forth. Let's just see what this fellow's doing on the drums. Oh, same stuff actually. So guitar solo with vocals creates a big, there's a lot of this in Dune, massive, massive, resonant, heavily drenched monody, you know, big, thick melodic lines moving around. Oh, and some very funky drum fills and whoa, sort of sagging electronics. Well, you know, it's charismatic film composition, courtesy of Hans Zimmer and his team. Interesting suggestion. Let me know what you think as my audience, and please feel free to comment in the comments below.